Tonight, Pierre Poilievre's response to new security clearance questions.
Let's be honest. I won the leadership fair and square.
Plus, housing affordability takes center stage on the campaign trail. And on the breakdown from right here in St. John, a bit of a lively debate with voters.
We clearly disagree on many topics, but we're doing it, and I feel like in a constructive manner where we appreciate and respect each other.
Trump officials grilled after plans to strike Yemen were shared with a journalist in real time.
Well, it's an embarrassment. Senator, you need to do better.
And with 23andMe bankrupt, what happens to your data and your DNA sample?
And that information can be weaponized. That information is incredibly valuable.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault in St. John, New Brunswick.
Thanks for joining us here in St. John as we travel to communities across this country this federal election to hear directly from voters like you. We're having good conversations about priorities and concerns as we hit day 3 of the campaign. And on this day, 2 major topics emerged. Affordable housing, as the Conservatives announced a bigger GST tax cut for some new homes, and foreign interference, as new reporting raised concerns about the 2022 Conservative leadership race. We have extensive team coverage again tonight, both with the major party leaders on the campaign trail and in Ottawa, where we have analysis on one of the day's biggest developments. So let's start with Kate McKenna, who is following the Conservatives and those allegations now surfacing that India helped organize support for Pierre Poilievre's leadership bid.
As Pierre Poilievre campaigns for next month's election, past allegations are brewing again.
Let's be honest. I won the leadership fair and square.
Poilievre won his party's 2022 leadership race handily, but now new reporting that India meddled in it. As first reported by the Globe and Mail, Canada's intelligence agency believes Indian proxies helped fundraise and organize for Poilievre.
Let's quote from that Globe and Mail article. I'm going to quote here. CSIS also did not have evidence that Mr. Poilievre or members of his inner circle were aware of these alleged actions.
The newspaper says CSIS didn't share the information with Poilievre because he refuses to get top-secret clearance, claiming it would muzzle him.
They'll bring me into a dark room and they'll say, we're going to give you a little bit of breadcrumbs of intel, and then we'll tell you can't talk about any of this stuff anymore.
I've never thought that was a credible statement. Why he seems to think that, I have no idea.
The allegations fueled fresh criticism from the other party leaders.
If you care about democracy, you would get a security clearance and find out as much as possible to protect our country.
I find it downright irresponsible that the leader of the opposition, day after day, month after month, year after year, refuses to obtain his security clearance.
Poilievre hit back, suggesting Mark Carney is compromised because a company he chaired got a loan from China worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Why would he be collaborating with a hostile foreign regime that we have since learned executed 4 Canadians and took numerous Canadians hostage for a lengthy period of time?
The Liberals say Poilievre is just trying to deflect, and intelligence experts say the 2 accusations aren't at the same level.
It's not the same thing as saying that agents of India actually sought to influence the Conservative leadership campaign. They're not apples. They're apples and oranges.
How all of these allegations will play out with voters remains to be seen. People waited in this lineup for hours for Poilievre to arrive for an evening rally. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Hamilton, Ontario.
Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton is here with more on this. So, Rosie, Canadians may be wondering why this issue just keeps coming up. When we talk about security clearance, can you be precise? What are we talking about?
Yeah, Adrian, there's different levels of clearance and not everyone has access to them. In fact, most MPs don't have them. Not even all cabinet ministers have them or need top secret or classified security clearance. This would include things like highly sensitive information about national security threats, foreign interference, terrorism from either individuals or state actors. And it could include how the intelligence was gathered from sources working for other countries, maybe trying to influence MPs. The Foreign Interference Inquiry report recommended that all leaders get this top secret clearance. clearance because they have unique powers and responsibilities in terms of determining who can be a candidate. All of them did, except Pierre Poilievre, and contrary to the suggestion that his clearance from when he was a cabinet minister in 2015 is still relevant, top secret clearance actually expires after 5 years.
Okay, that's interesting. So how is his refusal to get this clearance playing out now?
You know, the decision was made at the height of questions around foreign interference in elections and inside parties. It was, at that time, a strategic political decision because Poilievre believed that having this information would prevent him from holding the government to account. The problem for Poilievre, of course, is that the context has changed. This is no longer just about foreign interference, but direct threats from the U.S. president and national security. And at a time when defending Canada is what many Canadians are looking for, the Liberals are working to try and make this an ongoing vulnerability for the Conservative leader.
All right, Rosemary Barton in Ottawa. Thanks, Rosie.
Thanks.
Another major focus today was on housing. The Conservatives announcing a wider tax cut for some new homes. The Liberals have already laid out theirs. Lisa Singh takes a look at how the major parties are aiming to make housing more affordable.
The people who build the homes cannot afford to live in them.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre strengthening a promise he made in the fall.
By taking GST, the federal sales tax, off of all homes under $1.3 million.
An increase from the $1 million he originally pledged.
It is a time to build.
And it comes after a similar promise from the Liberals last week.
My new government will eliminate the GST for first-time home buyers on all new and substantially renovated homes under $1 million.
That tax cut might help some, but not all prospective buyers.
It's going to slowly maybe help.
But this Toronto real estate agent says many still won't be able to afford the upfront costs.
The down payment is still a struggle, the land transfer tax is still a struggle, and it's not helping bigger cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, where likely there's not going to be new build homes under $1 million.
And the promises don't get to the root of the issue, the lack of supply.
All this will do is increase the demand when we still have a shortage, so it probably increases prices.
In 2023, the Liberal government set up a $4 billion housing accelerator fund to address the shortage. The Conservatives say they'll use what's left of it to fund their new home tax cut.
School district's huge.
For Carly Wisleski, who was selling her home and buying a new one, the incentive is too narrow in scope.
I would say housing affordability on the whole, not specific to new builds, not specific even to just first-time home buyers, is what would appeal to us the most.
The Liberals also unlocked some federal lands for housing development, including some affordable homes. But the NDP argues some isn't enough.
We would use all the federal land that we own across this country and build 100% affordable homes.
A clear sign affordability and housing are top of mind for Canadians and consequently the leaders. Lisa Singh, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, we heard from Pierre Poilievre in Ontario just a few minutes ago. Let's take a closer look now at what the other major party leaders are up to as they campaign across Canada.
I'm Ashley Burke with the Liberal campaign near Halifax, where Mark Carney is trying to position himself as the best leader to defend Canada's sovereignty. He toured a shipyard set to build a new fleet of Navy warships and said he'll work with shipbuilders to use as much Canadian aluminum and steel as possible. He's also promising more heavy icebreakers to defend the North, using Coast Guard vessels for maritime surveillance and giving military members a raise. And now Carney's welcoming back a former high-profile member of Justin Trudeau's cabinet, Sean Fraser, the latest MP to jump back in the race after the party's poll numbers bounced back, though Fraser says a promise of a better work-life balance is what changed his mind.
I'm Marina von Stackelberg covering the NDP campaign in Hamilton, Ontario. This city's identity is forged from the steel industry. The New Democrats have counted on the support of working-class Canadians in places like this for decades. But that isn't certain anymore. Jagmeet Singh spent most of his day speaking with union bosses and workers. The New Democrats now have endorsements from major ones, the steel workers, CUPE, and now transit drivers. But Poilievre has also won the support of several construction unions. And he's been targeting working-class Canadians with his pitches on affordability. He's campaigning here on the same day. The Liberals actually hold this riding of Hamilton Mountain. They took it from the NDP last election in a three-way race. It's a seat the New Democrats are clearly working to win back this time around.
I'm Rafi Boudjikanian in Longueuil covering the Bloc Québécois. Yves-François Blanchet is attacking Mark Carney for the second day in a row, specifically over Carney mistaking the École Polytechnique shooting massacre in Montreal for a mass shooting at Concordia University years later. Carney did so while introducing his candidate, Nathalie Provost, a survivor of Polytechnique, but he also mispronounced her name. He apologized for the error, and Provost says she still has faith in him. Blanchet is hoping Quebecers start to lose theirs, also pointing to the Liberals refusing to pay to take part in a French language debate hosted by the private network TVA, leading to the event's cancellation. Blanchet insists that's also a mistake, one he's hoping to capitalize on.
Here in St. John, tariffs and affordability are driving the debate around this election. In fact, it's been named Canada's most tariff-vulnerable city.
We clearly disagree on many topics, but we're doing it, and I feel like in a constructive manner where we appreciate and respect each other.
I may not agree with your opinion, but guess what? I will fight to the death for you
100%. I know.
to have it.
Angry, I see it later.
We'll hash out the big issues on the minds of 4 voters. That roundtable conversation is coming up in about 20 minutes. Now, Donald Trump says texts sent by top officials about Yemen airstrikes in a group chat weren't classified. His defense coming hours after those officials were grilled in a Senate hearing. Paul Hunter shows us how that played out.
The hearing will come to order.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats, gobsmacked by what they were hearing, fired question after question.
Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No. Was there any mention of a target in Yemen?
I don't remember mention of specific targets.
Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address
it?
And so it went. The day after, word that somehow this senior U.S. journalist, Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic magazine, was mistakenly sent these text messages using the messaging app Signal from a group chat by the Trump administration's senior national security team. The messages came as U.S. forces were planning an attack on Houthi rebels in Yemen this month and contained specific, secret details about the attack ahead of time. Democrats said if the leak had gone to the enemy, it could have cost U.S. lives.
This sloppiness, this incompetence, this disrespect for our intelligence agencies and the personnel who work for them is entirely unacceptable. It's an embarrassment.
Senator,
you need to do better.
Senators were told the military details were not classified. Trump himself later downplayed all of it.
There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use.
Trump seemingly blamed the journalist, calling him a sleazebag.
He's made up a lot of stories, and I think he's basically bad for the country.
After all of that, Trump advisor Mike Waltz took full responsibility for the leak, Adrian, and the White House said it's now moving on.
And Paul, that was hardly the only news coming out of that committee meeting.
Yeah, as the hearing began, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, you saw her in the piece, gave what's known as the ATA, the Annual Threat Assessment, a rundown of known threats to the U.S., chief among them on the drug front, the cartels. But she made no mention of Canada on drugs. So it was put to Gabbard, why no mention, since Trump has so often said fentanyl from Canada is the basis for U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods. Here's her reply to that.
Senator, the focus in my opening and the ATA was really to focus on the most extreme threats in that area. And our assessment is that the most extreme threat related to fentanyl continues to come from and through Mexico.
The senator then said effectively, well, How does that jibe with what Trump's been saying, hence the tariffs? Gabbard said she'd have to get back to him, and the hearing moved on.
All right, Paul Hunter tonight in Washington. Staying in Washington, where the White House announced a pair of deals with Russia and Ukraine to pause fighting in the Black Sea.
We're in deep discussions with Russia and Ukraine, and I would say it's going well.
Each side agreed to eliminate the use of force, ensure the safe navigation of the waters, and ban strikes on energy facilities. The deal comes after days of U.S.-led discussions in Saudi Arabia. 3 heli-skiers have been killed and a 4th critically injured after being swept away by an avalanche in southeastern BC. So this happened Monday afternoon in a backcountry mountain range east of Kootenay Lake. The 4 men had just finished skiing and they were waiting at a staging area when the slide occurred. The avalanche danger level in the area was rated as high because of rising temperatures and unstable snowpack. There are new concerns tonight about the genetic data of 15 million 23andMe users. After it filed for bankruptcy, the DNA testing company might be sold, and as Anis Haydari shows us, its genetic database could go with it.
Millions of people could see their DNA sold to the highest bidder.
What does DNA even stand for anyway?
Because the tech company that pioneered genetic testing at home is going bankrupt.
You're here to understand what 23andMe is all about.
A potential sale with all its data. Families may not want their DNA along for the ride.
We got the happy moment where grandma found out what her ancestry was and she's happy, and that data needs to be used for absolutely nothing else, and I want to make sure of that.
Her family ended up using a competitor, but for customers who do use 23andMe, warnings from government officials in New York State and California telling them to delete their profiles right away. The concern, if the company is sold, there's no saying who might buy it.
If it was to be commercially sold to, say, an insurance company, who then chose to use information on that, maybe you're predisposed to some sort of, disease, that they're choosing then not to cover you, and you'll have no idea why.
And Canadian law may not be very helpful.
There's nothing that would stop them from selling this data on as part of a sale of the overall business. That's not going to require any consent or notice to the individuals.
Most privacy laws were written decades before companies could keep your DNA stored on a computer.
Legislation, both in the US and in Canada, is not yet mature enough in this field to be able to protect consumers, I think, adequately.
23andMe says privacy is an important consideration and that customers can still delete their data. Many lawyers and tech experts say they should do just that. Anis Haydari, CBC News, Calgary.
Just days after Pope Francis was released from hospital, we're learning how close he came to dying. Speaking to an Italian newspaper, the Pope's doctor says the medical team briefly considered suspending treatment on the 88-year-old to let him go, as they reportedly put it, after a serious breathing crisis. Instead, they chose an aggressive course that put his organs at risk. Francis returned home Sunday after 38 days of treatment for double pneumonia. Quebec has become the first province to cover part of the cost of a drug to prevent HIV.
We want to make sure that people have all the choices possible so that we're adapting their treatment to their lifestyle and not the other way around.
Why the new injectable medication could help slow the spread. Next. Plus, with multiple Juno nominations this year, country music is coming on strong. When you're all over him, I hope you're all over me. What's driving the trend? And later, a colorful surprise in the waters off BC.
We almost didn't have this family. They were almost lost.
The newborn orca with a legendary lineage. We're back in 2. We are back here again in St. John, New Brunswick tonight, coming to you from the gathering space right down on the waterfront. Now, we're in this city speaking with voters in a place that has been called the most vulnerable to tariffs in the entire country. And we'll hear from some of those voters just ahead. Quebec has become the first province to publicly cover the cost of a new injectable HIV prevention drug. As Alison Northcott reports, this comes as HIV cases in Canada are on the rise.
Once a day, Tim Lagman takes a pill that reduces his risk of contracting HIV.
I decided to go on PrEP because I wanted to take the necessary precautions so that I can reduce infection rates.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, is part of the daily routine for a growing number of Canadians who are HIV negative but at risk of exposure to the virus. Most people take it in pill form, but Lagman is hopeful about a new, longer-lasting injectable option given every 2 months.
That would be a lot easier for me, my peace of mind, and my schedule.
Injectable PrEP for me, it just fits into my lifestyle.
Sold under the name Apretude, the medication was approved by Health Canada last year, and Quebec recently became the first province to publicly cover part of its costs.
This is our lab.
Dr. Régent Thomas has been at the forefront of the fight against HIV and AIDS for decades and has seen life-saving advances in treatment and prevention.
So this is the medication here?
Yeah.
He says injectable PrEP could be a game changer for some patients.
It's very important because I think it's the future.
The number of new HIV infections in Canada increased by 35% between 2022 and 2023. Experts say there are multiple reasons for that, including a lack of access to prevention.
I think there are a lot of
Ken Monteith works with a coalition of AIDS groups in Montreal. He's HIV positive and says prevention people can access and afford is crucial.
We want to make sure that people have all the choices possible so that we're adapting their treatment to their lifestyle and not the other way around.
Monteith says HIV treatments and all forms of PrEP should be free across the country. Right now, even with insurance, many people still have to pay part of the costs. Experts say the more tools there are for HIV prevention, the better it is for people at risk and for the work to end the epidemic. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
If you can believe it, we're only in the third day of an election campaign, but here in St. John, New Brunswick, voters are zeroed in on the threat of Donald Trump's tariffs.
When you ask me how are we going to accept any more pain, we've just did 10 years of pain.
Let's focus on making our country as self-sufficient as possible.
Our spirited roundtable conversation is coming up, but first, as we travel the country, we're asking voters everywhere we go what issues matter to them the most and why.
The solidarity and the sovereignty of Canada is crucial, and we need to pick a leader who's going to be able to cope with that, lead us into the fray if we have to. You know, thank God we're not a country that has guns, but I'll be at the barricades with my pitchfork and my snow shovel if I have to.
For me, probably housing cost, and how a lot of people can't afford housing or to buy a house.
What's going on south of the border, and making sure that we're really doing a lot for Canadian businesses.
Canadians, transparency, honesty, balancing budgets.
The National from St. John, New Brunswick will be back right after the break.
They came, the soldiers, with the settlers attacking me and beating me.
That is Palestinian director Hamdan Bilal speaking from a West Bank hospital after being released from Israeli detention. The Oscar-winning filmmaker says he was attacked Monday night by Israeli settlers, then arrested by police. Bilal won an Academy Award earlier this month for co-directing the documentary No Other Land, which looked at the struggles of living under occupation. Now, if you scan the list of nominees for this weekend's 55th annual Juno Awards, it's pretty clear that country music is having a moment. Dr. Geber Salasa looks at its growing popularity in Canada and resurgence in pop culture.
It's a big year for Josh Ross and country music at the Junos. The artist is tied for the most nominations with 5. And when it comes to the Fan Choice Award, 5 of the nominees are either country artists or have country-inspired albums, including Shawn Mendes.
there was suddenly a groundswell of country music in the world.
Sean Everett has had his hand in some of it. He's up for 2 Junos after working on country songs for Maggie Rogers, Casey Musgraves, and Beyonce.
I'm mixing 40 country songs in the next month and a half. So I don't think I've ever even mixed 40 songs in a month and a half in my life, period, let alone of one genre.
Mackenzie Porter feels the wave of interest too.
I'll talk to my friends who live in Vancouver or places that wouldn't have your normal big hubs of country fans, and my friends will be like, have you ever heard of Chris Stapleton?
The artist nominated for Best Country Album partly credits the boom to the music's storytelling.
You're hearing less and less songs about drinking in trucks. That's a little bit out now, where I feel like the stories are just real life stories.
The music's rise in popularity may also be attributed to real world events.
Every time you turn on the news, you're hearing these scary stories. What's going on in the U.S., what's going on the other side of the world. Country music has always been the genre where you can sit back and feel comfortable.
These country music fans are all for the surge in interest, but question its staying power.
Things will come in and out, but that's okay. Enjoy it while it's here. I think that it will stay just as popular because line dancing is becoming more and more popular too.
Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
You can catch the Junos this Sunday live from Vancouver. Host Michael Bublé kicks things off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on CBC and CBC Gem. As we travel across the country throughout the campaign, we are bringing together voters to find out what conversations they are having before they cast their ballots. Who is actually excited to be voting? Excited, sure, but mostly determined to have their say in this election. And no, not everyone's on the same page.
My wife is a nurse. She can't retire.
But Robert, there are ways to fix that don't include capitulating to somebody who's talking about conquering our country.
We're Canadians. We can do hard things.
This is an opportunity like no other.
What do Canadians need now? This is the national conversation in St. John, New Brunswick. We're here obviously because of this terrible statistic about St. John, right? That it is considered to be the city most vulnerable to the tariffs. When you first heard that, Mohammed, what went through you?
No, when you hear this, a chill goes through your spine. You know that this is true. You know that this day was coming. How do we reckon with it?
As I understand it, part of your job is to bring new people into St. John. What does a stat like that, the city most vulnerable to tariffs, do to your efforts to bring people in?
When new people arrive in a community like St. John, the first thing why they arrive is because of a job. The people who will be impacted by this are the most vulnerable people. And who are the most vulnerable people? We know that immigrants is one of them, and newcomers are one of them. So how do we create better opportunities?
And Sarah, you run a small business, you have a store. Do you feel vulnerable in the way Mohammed talks about people being vulnerable?
Not quite the same, although while we don't buy tons of American things and we can easily pivot, I don't know where my Canadian suppliers, where they source their materials from, and even if they source from other Canadian suppliers, where they source their materials from. So it'll take a while for those dominoes to all fall to see what the real implications are of it for me. But.
What about you, sir?
My business is definitely at risk. I mean, the services that I offer are often the first to be cut when a company needs to tighten its belt.
What are they, by the way?
Management consulting. My reaction to all of this is similar to Mohammed. I see this as an opportunity. I will admit, righteously indignant about everything that's going on. And I am letting my rage fuel and motivate me to go and find other markets and to look at other services and just make America irrelevant to Canada.
Wow, okay.
Yep.
Are you all on board with this idea of retaliatory tariffs?
Absolutely.
You are?
Yes, definitely.
Well, that head is shaking.
Mr. Command, I think we have a problem here. The problem is you're dealing with the largest partner in the world, which is our next neighbor. We've been bordered together forever. Nobody sat down at the table and addressed the immediate problem, which is we have tariffs. How can we find a solution?
But I think we did try that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we tried a soft negotiation. So when Trump said he threatened to put tariffs on Canada, Trudeau and his posse headed down and they talked to Trump.
You say they're not a good idea. You don't like the idea of retaliatory tariffs.
They're already hurting the American economy. They don't think that what they're doing to us is not hurting them. Because if we tariff them back, it's hurting the individual. Us as Canadians are the ones that are going to pay. The price of our wood products is going to go up the same amount of whatever the tariff they put on us for our aluminum and our steel. It's going to be the same thing when we send wood products. It's not helping the people that have small businesses. It's not helping the people that are contracting larger businesses.
That it is. I think that it is.
Okay.
Okay, I think that one way or the other, we're in for a world of pain because we're dealing with somebody totally irrational south of the border. So we're going to be hurting no matter what. So isn't it better for us to embrace that pain and decide that this is an opportunity for us to make our country stronger, for us to come together to take care of each other and make that trading partner irrelevant so that this kind of suffering and this kind of concern doesn't happen again.
The tariffs are directly going to affect all of us. We already understand that. We're Canadian. I agree with staying together. When you ask me how are we going to accept any more pain, we've just did 10 years of pain. And if you can't see that, then this discussion has to be over.
So we clearly are capable of managing it. So let's keep it on, except let's focus on making our country as self-sufficient as possible.
Like this is an opportunity like no other for Canada. Every country that goes through challenging environments has to come up with solutions. And you know what? The more we reinvest, the more we create opportunity, the better it is. I love Canada because of its people, because we can have an open, frank discussion like today.
Yes.
So let's look at what our competitive advantage is. What is our mojo? Like, what should we do to become for the next 100 years? This should be a long-term plan.
I want to go back to something. We're talking about the ways in which different people feel sort of financially vulnerable. Can you paint a picture for me of what you see as your vulnerabilities?
Okay, I'm 60 years old. I've been working as a pipe fitter for 37 years and I can't retire. Hope was the dream of Canada. Okay, you're here, you're Canadian, we're all Canadians here. I believe in everything you say, but again, I have an opinion on it. Immigration at this time, we don't have time for immigration, and I'll tell you why. We don't have any place to put the people that you want to bring in. We don't. And you need more people like me that are already here existing to get into the trades, which there's a big push on from both forms of government. I can't retire. My wife is a nurse. She can't retire.
But Robert, there are ways to fix that don't include capitulating to somebody who's talking about conquering our country.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Canada. I'm not talking about tariff. The tariff is just another thing. But we've been beat down with a carbon tax, which has a relevance to the tariff. Look at the amount. Okay, it's $9 here for a gallon of milk. It wasn't $9 3 years ago for a gallon of milk. I bought a can of chicken noodle soup 4 years ago for 50 cents on sale at Loblaws. It's $1.74 at Loblaws. We still have to eat. We can argue or discuss and have opinions about it, but the reality on the tariffs, okay, you wanna eliminate our closest border, who in reality, I'm not a fan. I'm Canadian. I will live Canadian. I will die Canadian.
I think something that everybody at this table can agree to is that we're proud of our country and that we want to remain a sovereign country.
Okay.
So, right? let's go through a few things here. There's disagreement on whether retaliatory tariffs are a good idea, right? Some people think yes, hit them hard. Some are like, hang on, it's going to hurt us too. So let's not inflict more pain.
More pain.
So what are some other options that are out there? What else are you hearing?
Interprovincial, loosen up those regulations so we can strengthen our own Canadian market. I think that we're stronger as a country when we can take our strengths and share them freely amongst the provinces. Think what would happen is if we could expedite some of those regulatory processes, both for entrepreneurship and small entrepreneurs that want to grow and that perhaps this is a barrier to entry for them or a barrier to growth, and for our larger businesses to just strengthen them so they're free to do other things and not be spending months trying to just sort out regulations.
When it comes to interprovincial trade, there'll be wins and there'll be losses. Mm-hmm. But overall, this is going to open up markets like never before. It's going to create opportunity like never before. Imagine if you are a doctor practicing in Ontario, that you can also practice in New Brunswick without licensing.
It's easier for a doctor from France to work in Quebec than for a doctor in Ontario to move.
So why not? Why can't we take the advantages of what we already have within our own country? I know that every province Every community is struggling with that. When it comes to building houses, where will we get the people from? We said that we'll build the workforce in 3 years, 5 years. But if you want the workforce tomorrow, immigrants have helped build houses in this country past World War II.
You don't have you don't have the infrastructure to hold the people that you want to bring in.
But that's what he's talking about doing, though. He's talking about a national affordable housing strategy.
But you don't have the infrastructure, the health care. The burden on the health care came partially through immigration. You can't immigrate that many people.
I want to move on to something if I can. This notion, this elbows up phrase, I see you've got it on your lapel there. How does everybody feel about that? Do you feel connected to the idea of elbows up? Robert, start with you.
I was a hockey player.
Yeah.
Elbows up, gloves off. But the problem is this. We're not even at the table, and it's not a talking point. You are obviously, okay, I'm not a fan of a president that I don't belong to the country of, but I have to deal with him.
But he's not dealing with anyone. He doesn't want you at his table. He wants you groveling at his feet. He wants all of us there.
I don't believe that.
And I say to hell with that.
But I don't believe that. I don't believe that. See, automatically your defense has gone up, and how can you be engaging of somebody if you're not willing to even open the door and sit down?
Look, Robert, we've just met for the first time today, so you don't know. Normally, my natural position would be discussion and negotiation.
That's what you do.
But I am seeing things clearly when it comes to this moment in time, and I do not believe that that's a solution here. With that particular administration, I don't think it's an option. I think there's more that we need in the immediate term to help people like all of us around this table.
Yes.
One of them for me would be immediate financial supports for Canadians who are going to be immediately affected by this.
When we come back, how do Canadians get past their differences and get ahead? Write down for us a thing that you, as New Brunswickers, as Canadians, really need the government to tackle.
I may not agree with your opinion, but guess what? I will fight to the death
100%.
for you
I know
to have it.
I know it. But I do feel a lot of this country right now, it's divided and angry.
I'd really like you to do is write down for us a thing that you, as New Brunswickers, as Canadians, really need the government to tackle. The next government, whoever the heck it's going to be. The one that will probably drive your vote when you walk into that booth.
Adrian, I'm going to write two.
Okay.
No, one.
Oh, that's cheating.
No.
We're going with one.
Everybody written them down?
Yeah, that's what you got. Oh.
All right. Affordability, national housing 2.0, nation building, okay, and economy. I'm drawn to this one because it's different. Nation building. You're really going to walk into a polling booth and say whoever is going, what do you mean by nation building?
Nation building for me is like, okay, we are clearly disagree on many topics, but we're doing it, and I feel like in a constructive manner where we appreciate and respect each other.
I may not agree with your opinion, but guess what? I will fight to the death
100%.
for you
I know
to have it.
I know it. But I do feel a lot of this country right now is like it's divided and angry. Angry. I see there wouldn't be a day on social media I don't see somebody block somebody, or they cut this person out of their life, or they did this, and I think it's a problem, and I don't think we can be very constructive with anything if we don't figure out a way to nation build.
Okay, you said economy, big word. I see why you chose that word when you actually have like 3 specific things to say. Yeah. What is driving your concerns?
Basically, if we want certainty, we need to have confidence. And what drives confidence? It's affordability. It's also empathy, because you need to see yourself in Canada. We have got a very nice saying here in the Maritimes. The tide rises all boats. I would like to see that everybody benefits from it, not only a few.
You have one word that stretches across your whole card, right? Affordability. When you say that, what specifically are you thinking about?
We need a pipeline that's stagnated and kept the Maritimes poor. That's reality. When you increase the influx of that one dichotomy to bring that here, your business is going to flourish. You're going to have a lot more businesses to be in charge of. You're going to be able to bring all those people that you want in, and we're all going to be able to afford it.
What's on your card again? Just remind me.
National Housing Strategy 2.0. Mohammed, when you brought this up, I could have kissed you. This is my favorite thing ever. The National Housing Strategy of the 50s was the most successful economic stimulus in the history of this country. It's important to me personally because I'm probably the only person at this table who rents, so I'm housing insecure. And I live on a street where people who live in tent encampments are frequently passing by to get uptown for services. I see every single day what the inevitable possible consequence is for me, right? What I know about the National Housing Strategy of the 50s is, in addition to building houses right across the country and putting people in housing that was affordable and safe and secure, right? It put all kinds of Canadians to work in the trades. It also employed an awful lot of new Canadians, right? It made small businesses like mine, like Anne's, viable.
Okay, one last thought. If you were to give a message to your fellow Canadians about what you want them to think about when they go into the polling booth, from the perspective of Robert, the pipe fitter in St. John, what would you say to them?
I want you to make the decision with your heart of what is best for Canada, what we deserve. We deserve better.
Okay, fair. Mohammed, what would you say to the Canadians? Uh-oh.
Well, I'd say to Canadians, you should certainly look at how do I fit within this great country? Like, what can I do to give back?
Okay, Sarah.
I have a message for those who are not going to vote. Rethink. Get out and vote. If you're eligible, you don't have the right, you don't have the privilege, you have a responsibility. Get your butts out and vote.
Last thought, Anne.
Leave space to change your mind. You're allowed. Keep your mind flexible as you work through the campaign process and ask lots of questions. Yeah.
You guys are great. I really appreciate this conversation.
You're great.
Thank you. It's good to talk it out, you know? And Sarah, Mohammed, Robert, great spirited conversation. Thank you for that. You know, they kept talking after the cameras stopped rolling. Robert even offered to help Anne deal with her heat pump. So there you go. This is just the first stop for us. We're planning to visit communities across this country to hear directly from more voters. So from here in St. John, New Brunswick, our next stop will be Brampton, Ontario, in the Greater Toronto Area. The GTA, always a crucial battleground. Brampton's been growing so fast. From there, we're planning on heading west to Medicine Hat, Alberta, then finally north to Yellowknife. So if you live in any of those communities, we want to hear from you. Email us at thenational@cbc.ca. Tell us what matters to you in this election. Just maybe you could be part of the national conversation. Now, coming up, an exciting new addition to the family tree.
Of course, any baby whale is something to celebrate, but this one has a really interesting family history.
How a twist of fate in the 1970s led to this newborn baby orca. That's next in our moment. What are you looking at there? That is a newborn baby orca swimming with its mother in the waters just off Vancouver Island and estimated to be just 1 week old. So the baby's great-grandmother, a very famous whale known as Wake, survived being captured by SeaWorld nearly 50 years ago. And so tonight, the killer tale makes our moment.
So this is a brand new killer whale calf. If they can see a baby, I mean, that is the holy grail. And of course, any baby whale is something to celebrate, but this one has a really interesting family history. So back in 1976, a group of 6 killer whales were corralled and held, but fortunately, they took SeaWorld to court. SeaWorld lost and had to release these 6 whales. One of those whales, T46 Wake, specifically is responsible for at least 30 killer whales. It's more than 6% of the population was attributed just to that one matriarch. So now this newest little one is the great-grand calf of Wake. Her granddaughter, Sedna, is the one that gave birth to this new little calf, and it is her first. So this is making her a first-time mom. It's still a little bit orange. It is very, very young, probably only about a week old. It's really exciting for us, but it's more exciting for our guests too. You know, a lot of our guests travel from all over the world here to see killer whales in the wild. And it's really cool to see their eyes light up when they see a new baby, and it just makes them that much more connected. Seeing a baby like this is really a sign of success when it comes to conservation. But yeah, we almost didn't have this family. They were almost lost, and luckily a twist of fate allowed them to go on to have all these babies. And if they had not been released that day, none of these whales would be here.
Ah, this is amazing. They don't know the baby's gender yet. They're working on a list of names. If you wondered how they recognize them, it's from their patches and then the notches on the dorsal fins. From all of us at the National, thank you for being with us. And to the good people of St. John who have been so incredibly kind, thank you very, very much from all of us here on the ground and in Toronto. It's been a real treat to be here with you. You can watch us anytime, of course, on the CBC News app. Subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault in St. John, New Brunswick. Look after yourself, St. John. Take care.